Hi there, welcome to this week's Weekend Warrior video. I'm Mike Watchmaker, National Handicapper for Daily Racing Form. There's a very light stake schedule, national stake schedule on Saturday. I mean, really light. I mean, to the point where I'm using races in this week's Weekend Warrior that I normally would not touch. But that's just the way it is. There wasn't a lot to choose from. I had to come up with three races, and the three races I want to talk about are the Buena Vista, the feature at Santa Anita, and two of the three stakes races on Gulfstream's card, the Hal's Hope and the Texas Glitter. But let's begin with the Buena Vista. And you don't have to be Einstein to know that Vasilika is a very likely winner of this race. She's won 9 of 11 starts since the Jerry Hollendorfer claim almost just over a year ago for $40,000. And among those 9 victories was a grade 1 score, a couple of grade 2 scores, and a grade 3 score last time out in the megahertz for brief freshening, in which she ran very well to be strongly pulling away late after having to rally 4 wide around the far turn. The only problem with Vasilika in this spot is she's not going to be any kind of price, and it's not my style to feature horses that are going to be heavy favorites, even if they are likely winners. But I had no choice. I had no options this weekend. So I'm going to try and make a case for an upset by Take These Chains. Take These Chains is a mare who at least showed some real ability early in her career. She won her first 3 starts, the first at Gulfstream, the second 2 at Belmont Park. And then obviously something went very wrong with her because after an unsuccessful stakes attempt, she disappeared for 17 months. But to her credit, she came back with a very strong allowance win last fall at Churchill Downs, a performance that was good enough to make her the strong favorite in the Bush and KD stakes at Fairgrounds most recently. She was unable to carry her speed in the Blushing KD. She was wide around the racetrack, but it just wasn't one of her best races. But I do think it's a little bit of a sign of stable confidence for Brad Cox to ship her out west for this spot. There were, outside of Vasilika, there are really no killers in here. And I think really one of the most interesting things about Take These Chains is that when she was such a promising performer earlier in her career, she won those first 3 starts by coming from well off the pace, and she showed speed in her 2 comeback races. Between Fahan Marat and Ms. Bad Behavior, there's going to be lots and lots of pace in this race. And I think Take These Chains can revert to her closing style, which I think is by far her most effective style. And I think it might be a style that will enable her maybe to break through with a stakes victory. Anyway, I'm going to cast a mild vote for Take These Chains over Vasilika and the Buena Vista. Let's move on to the Hal's Hope at Gulfstream Park. And while Quip is making his first start since an unsuccessful attempt in last year's Preakness Stakes, and he was scratched out of last week's Mineshaft at Fairgrounds in favor of this race, and he's a horse with some talent. He did win the Tampa Bay Derby last year, finished second to Magnum Moon, who was a very talented performer in the Arkansas Derby. To me, this race is all about Coppertown. And I'm kind of hoping that off of 2, on the surface, ugly-looking running lines on his last 2 starts, and his only 2 stakes attempts, that maybe Coppertown will be a palatable price in this spot. At least that's what I'm hoping. But in any event, although Coppertown finished 8th and last in the Cigar Mile 2 starts back and a distant 7th last time out in the Fred W. Hooper at Gulfstream, I think both of those races are absolute throwouts. Coppertown had a very rough start in the Cigar Mile. The race was over for him literally out of the gate. And in the Fred Hooper, he reared up in the starting gate pretty severely. And I, along with many other people, was frankly amazed that he wasn't backed out of the gate and examined. He settled down, and they sprung the latch. And he was just, he wasn't into it. I don't know. He might have cut himself. Who knows? But I mean, I'm willing to forgive it because he reared up and acted up so badly in the gate, wasn't examined, and I'm willing to forgive that performance. Coppertown is a horse who's shown a lot of ability early in his career. This is a horse who last fall came back from a long layoff and won an allowance race at Keeneland. This is the race that we're looking at right here. Before that, this was a horse in his maiden victory. He crushed Backyard Heaven, who came back to win his next 3 races, including the Grade 2 Ali Shiva Stakes. And then in his first allowance victory, Coppertown made a show of pattern recognition, beating him by over 6 lengths. And pattern recognition came back to win 4 of his next 6 starts including the Grade 2 Kelso and that Cigar Mile, a Grade 1 event that Coppertown had that rough start in. So if Coppertown doesn't have a hatred for the starting gate at this point in his life, and I could understand it if he does, but he's coming back relatively quickly, and I think he's the controlling speed in this race, and I think he's going to finally be able to show what he can do in a stakes race, and if he does, he'll win it. Let's wrap it up with the Texas Glitter Stakes. This is a 5 furlong turf sprint for 3-year-olds. And to me, the two best horses in this race are Yes, I Am Free and Stand Up. They ran 1-2 in a maiden race in January, maiden turf sprint in January at Gulfstream Park. Yes, I Am Free disputed the pace in that race, and he held off Stand Up. And we're looking at the replay right here, and Stand Up isn't anywhere in the picture, but he's going to be that gray streak who finishes like a house of fire on the outside. And, you know, Stand Up was just plain sluggish early in the early stages of this race, but I'm hoping that with the benefit of that racing experience, he'll be more into the game this time. And I think Stand Up is going to be more in the game this time, and I think he's going to reel in Yes, I Am Free on Saturday. Anyway, that's the way it looks for this week's Video Weekend Warrior. Good luck.